Now we're going to talk to Dr. Jeff Plant in a minute. Some texts and comments coming in. Sean Kelly should be definitely nominated, says that texter. Another person saying, there was some garden parties around the area. I thought you're only allowed to have 4 people allowed at the minute. Some people are having a lot more than that. Good morning. Holy God, Damien, this is a disgrace. The people of the Deise need to wake up. The black market for barbers and hairdressers are undoing all the good work that has been done by Waterford and the social distancing and respecting all the guidelines. People have to cop on, says this texter. Another person, since phase 1 opened, people seem to think they can go whenever they want. Loads of people out and about, definitely not observing the 5-kilometre limit. Other texters say the travel ban is a joke. I live in the mid-county. People are coming and going to Airbnbs. Francis Connors from Kill should definitely be included, says this texter in the Waterford Greatest Sporting Heroes. If we start jumping the gun, says another texter, reopening too soon, we'll be back to square one. What are we going to do? Another person saying people throwing masks and gloves on the ground. It is disgusting. Dr. Jeff Plant, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. A lot of people talking about, I suppose, the issues that medical people are putting out and NEFID and all the different guidelines, and then others saying we need to get back a little bit quicker. Why can't we get back a bit quicker? Why can't we do this, that and the other? And I think that's where the debate is going this week, Jeff, regarding the pressure that the medical experts are coming under to say, for example, can we change the recommended guidelines from 2 metres to 1 metre in line with the WHO, the World Health Organization. How do you assess this debate?
Well, if we rewind back to the beginning of this in mid-March, Damien, and we're having the same conversation and the same number, 57 cases have been announced the day before, we'd all be in a petrified state. Everyone would be to their houses and very much in a panic. There were still 57 cases yesterday. Yes, we're improving hugely and the numbers are coming down. So this is not a time for relaxation, in my opinion. It is very tough for the MP, the specialists, the MPHET and the scientists to come up with recommendations. Let's remind ourselves that this virus is around, let's say, give or take January, February, okay? Most research, scientific research, can take years to come up with definitive answers. We are now looking for definitive answers to everything within a 4-5 month period. I mean, science and the experts can only get us so far. So what's happening is the specialists are trying to advise various governments around the world, including our own government, and governments are listening and interpreting it and their policies as they feel fit, balancing something very difficult. One is the livelihoods of the nation and the economies versus on this number 2, lives. Now, our government and people are giving out like crazy, and the compliance is going down the tubes here. That they're being too slow, but we're doing really, really well. We're doing fantastically well, and this whole debate about meters, come on, we can all go back quicker. Let's just wait and see. They've always said that if the numbers start continuing to improve despite the lifting of lockdown, then maybe they could, but I can't see it. I think we need to stick with it. We've done brilliant well. In Waterford, as far as I know, and I stand to be corrected, I don't think we've had one COVID death. How amazing is that?
There was, maybe one. Again, we can't be 100% sure. I know there was a person died with one of the nursing homes, and there was a death then from Wexford, but that was Wexford, you could say. But in terms of the figures and the Waterford figures, they are phenomenal. And I was tweeting last week and putting it up on Facebook about the government should come down and look at what we've done here in terms of all the different aspects of what's gone out. And even in the hospital, especially in the hospital, what they're doing is phenomenal work. But like, you had Barry Cowan of Fianna Fáil on this morning saying, obviously with the medical guidelines, but he's basically saying we should look at possibly bringing it back to the 1 metre. So you can see where the pressure is coming from, but your message as a medical professional, as an expert, is just stay the course.
In my opinion, yes, definitely. I would agree. I think when we look back on time and we look at the way our government and policymakers and scientists made decisions, I think we'll be delighted with what we did. I mean, it's a very tough choice for them because we are caught between lives, as I said, and livelihoods. And when I say livelihoods, I mean the economy and financial side. And it's very, very tough. And people I can see where the population is at the moment. They're like, well, there's not much around. The numbers are going down. Sure, why can't I go for my cycle? Why can't I have 6 people in the garden? Come on. I mean, it's not that bad, really. But then again, this could turn overnight, Damien, and could change. Everything could change within a second. And we all just need to slow down our thinking here with regard to everyone getting more relaxed in themselves. Let's rewind back and look at Italy in mid-February. That was Bergamo. Look what happened. It was, the closest thing to a nightmare a society could have, a modern society could have, and it was so close to our door. So let's just stay the course. Let's do what we're doing. I know it's extremely frustrating, but my opinion is let's try to comply as much as we can. Let's do what we're being told and keep this up. We have saved huge numbers of lives. Let's keep doing it.
Okay. Well, to stay with the COVID situation for a minute, in Chicago, black people are 30% of its population, but 60% of its COVID deaths. And we've had a number of texts in from some black people here in terms of the numbers. And I was checking this out online over the weekend regarding NPHET, and they're looking at different aspects of compiling figures. But as far as I know, the figures for Ireland in terms of minorities haven't yet come through. What's your reading at it from a medical perspective in terms of, I suppose, I'll give you an example. Somebody texted us to say that her grandson, he's a teenager. He's black. He's terrified to leave his house because he sees on Sky Sports. This is a Waterford chap. He sees on Sky Sports and all the television things that the figures for black people are higher than other sections of the population for contracting COVID. What's your advice, and what would you say to somebody like that?
Oh, look, first of all, I'm terribly sorry to hear someone so young that worried. And isn't this where we're all caught at the moment, between absolute fear and trying to live our lives normally? Okay, as I said there a minute ago, we are, only 3 or 4 months into this pandemic, and it's difficult to read through the figures to get absolute science figures correct. It would appear, particularly in London, I understand, I saw some research there a couple of weeks ago, that yes, unfortunately, in their deaths, black people were more at risk, and we're waiting data from the States on that as well. I think there may be a couple of confounding factors there, Damien. For example, weight and pre-existing medical conditions. So perhaps if they're taken into account, black people aren't as much at risk, but it's too early to give a definitive on that. I mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago with you. I think it's pretty solid now. The number one risk is age, unfortunately. And then close behind is the medical conditions like heart conditions, lung conditions, and obesity is very high up there in second or third place as well.
Yeah, and people talk also, sorry Jeff, people also talk about then potential racial discrimination in the healthcare system. There could be environmental factors in predominantly black neighbourhoods, higher than average prevalence of pre-existing conditions, higher morbidity rates, so many different factors with all of this that would have to be considered if there was going to be a comprehensive study done on this.
Yeah, there would be an awful lot. And you mentioned this to me 2 weeks ago, Damien. We cannot discriminate here at all. I mean, that's absolutely terrible. I think you mentioned me 2 weeks ago that obese people were being discriminated against, that they're likely to carry it. No one's more likely to be a carrier of this, and that should go out of people's heads. We're all just as likely to be a carrier. Don't be thinking that certain groups of populations are more at risk. They may be at more risk of getting a severe case of it. But they're not. So this discrimination should just go out of people's heads immediately. From a scientific point of view, that's just not true at all.
Tell me about cancer screening, please, and cancer screening services and how they've been affected by this crisis.
Oh, hugely. And again, this is part of the debate and trying to open things up. I understand as it is at the moment. If someone walks into a GP they're concerned about a breast lump, and we can refer that in, and they're being seen. The screening services are not operating, but I understand they're coming close to reopening. When I say screening service, cervical check, breast screen, and bowel screen. So hopefully they'll open up in the near future. I'm really not sure of when, Damien. But yeah, there could be. We all talk about there could be a knock-on effect of this in a couple of months' time, in terms of cancer rates and misdiagnosis. What I can say, certainly over the last 3 weeks here in the Keogh practice, we're seeing people coming in again with their appropriate medical conditions, looking for attention when they should. So we're very welcome, and I think most GPs are very welcome to see that again. So if someone has a very worrying condition and the GP is very worried about it, they will still be seen in the hospital. But a lot of the more routine services are not operating.
Okay, and we won't get to all the questions that have come in this morning, but a woman, a 58-year-old woman, she has pain in her joints, all her joints at the moment. She's taking paracetamol. Is there anything you could suggest, anything else that might be relevant for her?
Okay, well, quite simply, she can take some, if she can tolerate it, Nurofen for a few days, maybe 4 or 5 days, might be a bit better than a paracetamol for joint-type pain. But if it's gone on over more than 10 days, 2 weeks, and it's a new thing, she should ring her GP for advice and perhaps come in for review after the phone call and after that checkup.
How long does glandular fever take to overcome? For example, my 17-year-old has been diagnosed with it. Seems very draining, severe throat, prescribed paracetamol and Nurofen, lots of fluid. Does recovery take several weeks? Asked this person. Yeah,
there's an acute phase there, Damien, for glandular fever, where someone can be quite unwell, but when you've recovered, let's say after the first number of weeks, unfortunately people may have heard of glandular fever, tiredness, you get this fatigue, and it can go on. It can be short, but it can go on in some cases for months and months, unfortunately. The fatigue becomes a major issue. Your listeners may have heard of some significant famous athletes who've got it and knocked them for 6 or even up to 6 months, so it can go on a little while.
Okay, listen, Jeff, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Okay, and to all your listeners, try to stay safe, try to comply as best you can, guys. We've a long road ahead of us, but we're doing very, very well, so let's try and keep it up, okay?
Thank you very much, Jeff. Talk to you again. Mind yourself.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Dr. Jeff Plant there talking to us about some of the issues, I suppose, that are around at the minute, and people texting in are reflecting all of that. Pat in the city has texted in to say it's time to get the country open and get people back to work. What's the difference between opening the country now and in 8 weeks' time? Well, Pat, you've heard what Dr. Plant had to say. Like, if we had 56 cases in March, the start of March, we'd all be getting really worried. Is it the fact that we had hundreds a day and now we're down to 56 that we think it's all okay? Or people are saying, yeah, it is okay, we should be able to get back. Whereas others are saying, for example, I saw a group of nearly 24 youngsters walking around Dunmore yesterday evening. How did they get together? Slowly does it, says Jerry. We don't want to turn into Trump land. Another texter saying, how can anyone take the World Health Organization seriously anymore? And hair salon owners and hairdressers are continuing to text in. I'm a salon owner, and if any of my clients had their hair done on the black market, I won't be doing their hair. It's not fair on people doing hair all this time. A lot of irate people texting in regarding the matter of hair. Now we're going to be talking about eyes and opticians next. Firstly, a couple more of your texts. I was working on the Cork Road yesterday in Waterford City. A group of around 10 youths huddled together, no social distance between them. A Garda car passed by, looked at them. I didn't know if they were going to stop or not. They didn't. I'm just wondering what is the situation with this. Loving the show. Thank you very much. Catherine, here's an interesting one from Catherine. Good morning. I've been listening very carefully to the programme, and I have to say people seem to be putting money and other issues ahead of lives. People need to think about all the lives that has been lost. I'm not sure their families would care what they looked like or how much money they had as long as they stayed alive. So please remind people to keep doing what we're doing. Nothing is worth losing more lives for it. I can safely say with all the texts and comments coming in, dozens upon dozens of texts and comments to our text line and our WhatsApp line, I'd say it's evenly split in terms of people saying we should go back a little bit quicker and others saying we should slow down. For example, good morning. Do you know of the 4 youngsters who chanced driving from Wicklow to Tramore on Saturday? They met a Garda checkpoint. Everyone in the car got fined €2,500 each. There's an expensive kick up the backside to get. Let's see how opticians are doing after a week. Kel Nolke, good morning.
Good morning, Damien. Thanks very much for having me on.
Not at all. It's good to talk to you, Kel. 1 week after opening business, we were talking to opticians the week before last, 10 days ago, about what it was going to be like, how it was going to operate, how the systems that you were putting in place were going to actually help and work with customers. How has it been in the past week?
Well, it's been great to be back and seeing patients and customers coming in the door. Certainly, we're busy and have I suppose a good interest in people who need their eyes examined and need to fix their glasses and things like that. So yes, we've been busy, but of course we're restricted in our activity. So typically in my practice we would have 2 opticians testing every half an hour, but at the moment we've got 1 optician testing every hour. So we're kind of separating our patients a lot more. So our throughput is a quarter of what it typically would be. But we're learning as we go. So we're kind of we said, look, well, let's start slow, see how we get on, see what the interest is, and so on, and build it slowly over time. So, and trying to get it as efficient as we can, because we need to limit the number of people in the store. We are doing an examination, and then you've got to come out and select glasses for the patient afterwards. And that can take a bit of time, and then there's the cleaning that has to happen in between appointments. And then at the same time, you'll have people coming into the shop as well, wanting to purchase, spectacles or children's or repair or contact lenses or lots of things. So we're trying to kind of control the numbers in the store. And that's interesting. I suppose that patient journey, we have a customer journey and we have a patient journey. So we need to kind of work the two at the same time. So it's interesting. And in general, how have you found it? Have you found it stressful? Have you found it relaxed? Have customers kind of gone along with you on it? I suppose the staff have been great for a start. They're kind of glad to be coming back slowly, although we don't have all of our staff back because we have much less business at the moment. So that's an issue within any business because you don't have the volume that you had before. So you've got to control your staff levels. And then regarding the customers and patients coming in, predominantly they're very good and very, very, very understanding. I suppose the issue is that you have degrees of nervousness within the population, if you like, within the public. So you have a very nervous patient who's anxious about COVID and everything, and then you could have at the same time a not so nervous person come into the store who just kind of walks in nonchalantly and goes, I just need such and such. You go, please kindly go back and wash your hands and use the sanitizers and so on. And then I suppose for us, we all wear masks in the practice as we're working, and then we're encouraging our visitors to come into the store with a mask as well. And the problem with that is, of course, that when you're doing an eye examination with a mask on, the glasses fog up. And then outside, when they're trying glasses on in the shop, you're trying glasses on your face and you've got a mask on, so you can't see what your face looks like. So you need to take the mask off when you're trying on glasses. There's no magic solution to that. And in actual fact, what we do is we get them to take off the mask, wash their hands immediately, because, of course, the mask itself is a source. The whole purpose of a mask is to prevent the spread of COVID from yourself, realistically. And so if you had COVID, the mask is now the most polluted part of your clothing. So, if you're taking it off and handling it, you're better off just putting it away, washing your hands and putting it away, because, the mask itself is a source of transmission and contamination. So just look, okay, and then just take it off, wash your hands, try on the frames, and then, of course, every pair of glasses needs then to be cleaned after you've tried them on. So we try not to let people put the entire shop on. We need people to be a little bit more decisive in their frame selection, and we help them with that. So that's what we're getting much better doing that.
Kel, well, listen, continued success to you, and hope everything stays safe. And I know you want to thank your staff and your customers for being so working with this over the while. Yeah,
people have been fantastic and really understanding. As is the hospital, I'll throw a good word into them for their eye clinic services throughout the closure and the shutdown, and encourage people that if you have an eye problem, just call us, either us or the hospital. It will get sorted and it will be done very safely.
And a simple question, Mary has just phoned in. How do you keep your distance from an optician?
Well, Luckily, I have a baropter here, which means that I have a device that I can put in front of your face and then sit back whilst doing the eye examination on a computer terminal. So I can sit between 1 and 2 meters away from you whilst doing most of the eye examination. And then we have another machine that takes a photograph of the back of your eye. So we try to do it, time efficiently as we can in the testing room as well. So we're trying to limit the time in the room, but we do have equipment in and purchasing more equipment that costs a lot of money to do even more of that in our second testing room. So
Kel, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
Great. Thanks very much for having me on.
Not at all. My pleasure. Thank you. Kel Nolke there from Nolke Opticians, 1 week after opening of business. Let us know. What do you think? Have you been to an opticians in the past week? Or are you looking to get back to an opticians? I didn't get to Sharon's text. Sorry about that regarding the doctor's slot. When are chiropodists open? Some of them are. Yes, I know that. We had some texts in about 3. The 3.28 top-up has always been valid for 28 days only. Your €20 gets you unlimited 3-to-3 calls, unlimited data and text to app networks, and the credit approximately 52 minutes of talk time. However, trying to contact 3 via phone currently is near impossible, so the service is not great. And we had another texter saying about 3 as well. They've had some very bad experience of it regarding that top-up, and they went to another system. Shirley has texted in, you might say a quick hello please on behalf of staff and Dr. Foley and her team in Medical 7 for looking after my husband so well in UHW, who went in on Thursday and home yesterday, not COVID related. And that is from Shirley Anneen. Thank you very much for that. Other people saying, why aren't we not naming the hairdressers? Name and shame. Well, it'd be a very difficult thing to do, and we'd have to prove it, as they say. Maggie has phoned in to say, it's not easy to give an opinion without seeming too lax, but I'll give an idea of what's been done in Germany. There are some states, as they call, or counties, with 0 infections over a period of 2 weeks in Germany. They're easing their restrictions earlier than other states. Their outlook is, why should they keep severe restrictions in place just because large cities such as Munich have had the largest number of infections? There's also a matter of trust. People are getting uneasy at their liberties being cut, and that can encourage some other people, right-wingers and conspiracy theories, to demonstrate. So Maggie's saying, apparently within that text, I suppose, there could be a quickening up of the easing of restrictions. Let us know what you think. Also, next, who's the best 50 Waterford hurlers or footballers in history? Now, keep your texts and comments coming in, and get them in quickly if you're a sports fan for this next item, because I'm going to go straight to Martin Breheny, one of the most respected GAA journalists in the country. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, Damien.
Thank you very much for talking to me, and lovely to talk to you. I know you're a good friend of WLR and Kieran O'Connor's over the years, Irish independent columnist and journalist. You have a lovely, really interesting, I suppose, thing going on at the minute. And we're looking at, I suppose, the top 20s in the Leinster counties tomorrow or today, and Munster equivalent tomorrow. So this is one that's going to get people really, really engaged, isn't it?
Well, I mean, what we're doing is we're picking the top 20 hurlers and footballers in each county throughout the country for the last 50 years, 1970 to 2020. Now, we've carried Leinster today, it's Munster football and hurling tomorrow, all the counties, Ulster on Wednesday, Connacht on Thursday. Then on Friday we move on and we have the top 20 in each province. So how many Waterford players will get onto the top 20 in Munster? That's obviously of interest in Waterford. And then on Saturday we complete it by having the top 20 nationally, the top 20 players from 1970. And the thing is, Amy, it looks like, I suppose, a COVID-19 project, and in a way it's because everybody's now looking back and etc. But we actually planned this, would you believe, last December, and we started it in January. I retired as GA editor of The Independent in November, but I'm continuing in the columnist role and other projects like this. So we started this in January, and we were planning to carry it in April, which was, of course, an inter-county free month. So the plenty, and of course we all know what happened in the interim.
Yes.
So we put it back to now because one of the reasons we put it back was because the more we went into it, you will always find more to be looked at, more to be examined, more people to be talked to. Because my God, it's a very, very there's no right or wrong in this, and you just have to keep turning it over and over and analysing and talking to people. Very enjoyable and very interesting. But we know that whatever you do in the end, you're going to be wrong.
Because in any sort of lists, whether it's movies or sporting heroes or anything like that, and we're doing our old sporting hero as well, and we've listeners here in Tipperary and in Kilkenny and in Wexford. We're going to focus on Waterford this morning because we want people to text in their top 20 hurlers and footballers in Waterford. And as you say, some of these will get on potentially on the Munster team, and then they may well make the All-Ireland team. So you might have some that'll get on there as well. Obviously, the hurlers would have had more success over the years, but very difficult because you'll have some positions. For example, in Dublin football, 3 goalkeepers made the list: Cluxton, John O'Leary and Paddy Cullen, whereas only one Meath number 1 makes the Royal list. So there will be areas, possibly in the attack and the forwards for Waterford, that you'd have people vying for positions.
Well, yeah, you see, it's not. This is the interest of. It's not a team, Damien. It's a top 20, so we're ranking players against each other. So therefore, you're making a call whether, for argument's sake, and just name a few, like Ken McGrath, Tony Brown, Brick Walsh, Paul Flynn, John Milan, Kevin Morden, and then go back to Pat McGrath, all these lads. So you're making a comparison all against, running against each other, if you like. So that's the difficult thing about it. I mean, in Dublin, as you say, we have 3 goalkeepers, but if you bear in mind, in Dublin goalkeepers, with the exception of Davy Bourne, who played from 1998 to 2001, Dublin has had 3 goalkeepers since 1967. That's extraordinary. That's actually, Paddy Cullen was there from 67 to 79, John O'Leary from 1980 to 1997, and Stephen Cluxton from 2001 till now. So it's extraordinary, really, that longevity. Other counties wouldn't have that. So it's every county varies, and also whether you're strong, for instance, obviously Waterford hurling very strong nowadays. It went through bad times in the 80s. I think there was a spell in Division 3. Waterford football not so strong, but everybody. Everybody has a top 20 and everybody has a top player. And you also know yourself, Damien, if you're in a pub or a club or anywhere else and you're talking about that and you have 9 people who agree with, say, and there's one dissenting voice, that dissenting voice will not change. They cannot be changed because they are convinced that they're right and they think the other are complete spoofers of the highest order. And that's the nature of these things, so that's always been the way. And that's why we did it, because we want to generate a bit of debate and a bit of fun in the days you're in.
Because you'll get in, let's say, if you're looking at the best 20 Waterford hurlers for the last 50 years, you might get a lot of people that would agree on the top maybe 10, 12, maybe 15. The last 5 or 6, then you're getting into difficult territory, aren't you?
Well, you're getting into. Well, I mean, it's in any case, it's who to leave out are the ones.
Of course, yeah.
Because that's the thing, and you're at the cut-off point, and you're saying, well, God, he has to. And people, and in fairness, I mean, I headed this thing up for the end, but obviously I talked to my colleagues. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, I'm the oldest around, so I had to lads like Vincent Hogan and Colin Keys, who contributed, but they could only contribute within their lifespan, which didn't quite go back as far as mine. But if somebody will say, and anybody, when you're talking to anybody, and we talk to people in Waterford as well, and also people about Waterford from other counties. So we try to consult on that, people we trust and respect and whatever. But people will say, well, he has to be in. But I'll say, well, who's going out then? You see, and this is always the way. It's like an all-star selection. You get sacked every year for it, inevitably. And it's the A, B, C, or D should be in. But then when you say, well, who should be left out? People are a little bit more reluctant to offer an opinion on that. So that's the nature of these things, and that's the fun of it, because it's a subjective opinion, and everybody is right and everybody is wrong. And
I know a lot of people that follow football in Waterford will have very strong views about different people as well. And some of those players may well make the Munster team as well. Like where you're talking about Gary Herney, you could be talking about Shane Ahern, some of the lads in the 80s. Like Waterford's produced individually some very good players over the years as well, and some good teams as we know, but individually some good players. So you could see a little burst of a few lads trying to get on a Munster team from there as well.
Yeah, I mean, John Hennessy was on the Munster team
of course.
In his day, so there were plenty. There are fine Waterford footballers. The trouble is, of course, that they're up against. I mean, they're not even up against what you might call a normal province. That if they were in Connacht, for instance, that obviously have the stronger case, because there's so many in Kerry, for instance. I mean, how the hell do you it's like trying to pick 20 as we did in Kilkenny hurling for today's paper. Sure, you could have. There are multi All-Ireland medal winners not in that list, because that's just the nature of it. And I think that is probably the difficulty in Munster for the Waterfords and the Clares and Tipperaries and Limerick, that they're up against that whole Kerry, that empire, say, whereas if it were in Connacht, it wouldn't be as strong. But we'll see. We're giving them all a fair shot. We're giving everybody a fair shot. And let's put it this way: anybody from I'm looking to call any weaker county, what I say, the lower ranked counties. The benefit of the doubt always goes to the player from the lower ranked county, in my view, when it comes to these sort of exercises.
That's a good way of putting it. Now, I know people can buy the newspaper, can have a look through there. They can also go online and they can send in, if you want, your top 20 list as any issues. And it's sportscomment@independent.ie, sportscomment@independent.ie. And also there's a link on the page, I think, online to submit your entries, is there?
Yeah, people can submit their opinions on it. I'm sure we'll get plenty of those. And as I say, hopefully it'll build up momentum during the week. It's Munster's turn tomorrow, all 12 counties. And again, we didn't omit Kerry hurlers, for instance, which would be easy because they're not up to perhaps the level of the other 5. Although you will all remember they did beat.
No, we won't talk about that. I think your line is going to. I think your line is breaking up there, Martin. Hello, Martin. Hello.
Goals of 2 points or something like that. John Myler in charge of Kerry. So there you go. That's big.
There was an excellent. I know, yeah. Actually, the local papers here did a really good piece on that recently. Would I be too much to say to you then? Now you probably don't have a list of 20 your top 20 Waterford hurlers there in front of you, do you?
Of course I don't. No, of course I don't. They're under lock and key. But they'll be there. But they'll be online from early tomorrow morning, and for people to go on and buy the old-fashioned newspaper, it's still in the times we're in. It's still because the design people have done a fantastic job. So it'd be nice to to keep as well, because it's really they've done a great design job on it. So it looks well. It'd be nice to have in years to come.
Martin, it's a pleasure talking to you again. You're keeping well and mind yourself. And Dublin, it's one way of stopping Dublin winning another Ireland, isn't it? This old COVID thing.
Well, I'm not sure. I still think we might have an Ireland before the end of the year.
Do you?
Well, it's still only May.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't rule it out that it's still only May.
Okay.
If there was to be a rapid, I think maybe have an open draw one. And here's a suggestion to. Why not play it on the weekend of around November the 20th, play the hurling and football maybe in the same weekend, the 100th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. Wouldn't that be a nice way in the year we've had in the whole lot to have the All-Ireland finals on a Saturday night and a Sunday in Croke Park? Ooh. And maybe even Waterford there, and that would change their top 20 next year.
Sounds good. My father said to say hello to you. He wrote to you there once from Wicklow and Sean Tiernan. Listen, Martin, God bless you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Damien.
Good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Mind yourself. Martin Breheny there, wonderful columnist and journalist with The Independent. That's going to be a good one. Now, we've a wonderful piece coming up in a minute about poetry. I'm going to be talking to Eileen and Tom Hayes about their lovely boy Tom, and also Celia Walsh, Director of Waterford Teachers Centre. A couple of quick texts. Kieran O'Connor has texted in, seen as picking the greatest sportsman or woman is impossible due to different generations or rule changers. I think I found the greatest who trilled Waterford over 25 years and continues to do so. Good morning. Fabulous show. Brilliant source of debate. But the listeners need to know this virus does not discriminate between black people or white people, just like it doesn't discriminate between travellers and settled folk. All are at equal risk, and social distancing is the only way to beat it. Angela said, Damien, the word is greed. Greedy, selfish people who don't care. Keep up the great work. And others saying, I thought doctor surgeries were open to see people. My sister really needed to see a doctor face to face, but wasn't allowed. And Pat has phoned in to say, can you name the Waterford-born man who won All-Ireland medals with Kerry? Can you name the Waterford-born man who won All-Ireland medals with Kerry? Eileen and Tom, who's there on the line? Is that Eileen?
Yeah, Eileen, yeah.
Eileen, how are you?
Good, thanks. Yourself, Damien?
Sure, I'm wonderful, thanks. I'm wonderful. Thanks very much for joining us. Tell us...
Yeah, we're delighted. Tom, will you come on?
Where are you, Eileen? Where's home for you?
Rathcormac, Damien.
Lovely. And tell us...
Are we live now? No.
Huh?
Am I on the radio now? No.
You are, yeah. You're on the radio now. You're talking to the world.
Oh, right, great. Should I say hello to Tom? Will I put John to Tom?
You can put him on to me in a second there, but I just want to say a quick little hello there to... you're talking about Tom. Tell us about Tom first.
Yeah, so Tom is 7 years old. He's in first class in Rathcormac NS. He's a great boy now, but to be honest, he's big into sport, and it's going to be a big challenge for us to get through the summer without sport. Schoolwork wouldn't be his favourite pastime. But we had a little bribery going on here that he thought he's entered the poetry competition because he might win some money to buy an Xbox.
That's brilliant. And
that didn't work out. But he got a book token, so we're delighted now. We're going to buy a new book whenever we can get to the shop.
Lovely. Well, listen, we've Celia Walsh on the line. Hold on to Tom for a second. I was going to play Tom there in a second. Celia Walsh, Director of Waterford Teacher Centre. Good morning, Celia.
Good morning, David. How are you?
Good. You hear the wonderful Eileen there. I'm going to talk to Tom in a minute. And we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing poetry all this week of the young boys and girls who submitted their poems. Just remind people, we had you on around 3 or 4 weeks ago about this, and you asked people to submit their poetry, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, look, we thought we'd just try and motivate the pupils who are all stuck at home at the moment to, put their pens to paper or their fingers on their laptops and type a poem, and it's been amazing. We got over 160 poems from 4-year-olds right up to 18-year-olds in Leaving Cert. And our judge, Seamus Cashman, had a massive job, and he said if only he could give prizes to them all because he thought the standard was just incredible. And just the fact of the situation we have at the moment, we had a number of poems focused on the topic of the virus and what that has meant to children. And Tom's poem, of course, is about his mum, who is his own superhero in the current situation. And I think it's amazing, it's a fantastic poem altogether.
Eileen, you're still on the line. Eileen, you're still there, are you?
Yeah, I'm Damien, yeah.
Grand. You're the superhero for Tom. Put little Tom on to me there if you wouldn't mind for a minute, please.
Damien, can I just say, I think the kids are the superheroes in all of this. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, they are.
And what they've had to endure has been unbelievable. I'll put them on now there, Damien, okay?
Very well said, Eileen. Very well said. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, say hello.
Hello.
Hello, Tom. How are you?
Good.
Tell me, what are you missing most?
The football.
The football. You like the football. And in Rathgormack, you know your football all right. Do you kick with your left foot or your right foot?
Right.
And what do you like about the football? Tell me about the matches. What position do you like playing best?
In the goal.
Oh, you're a goalie. Very good. A shot stopper. And do you kick the ball out really well, you do?
Yeah.
Fair play to you. And you're practising out the back, you are?
Yeah.
Tell me about this poem. Why did you write this poem? And tell me about your mammy.
I write the poem because I like superheroes.
Okay.
And my mum helped me with the poem, and
she's your superhero, is she? Well, you stay on the line there now and have a listen to this, Tom, because I know you sent in a lovely WhatsApp message. So we're going to play this little piece. So this is Tom Hayes, second class in Rathgormack, and his little poem. So have a listen to this, folks.
Hello, my name is Tom. I am 7 years old, in first class, in Rathgormack, Ennis. My poem won second prize in the first and second class competition. I love superheroes, and the poem is all about my mum. My Superhero by Tom Hayes. Today my mum dressed for battle to fight an enemy I cannot see. She is so kind, so brave, as people's lives she fights to save. She is commented right from the start. She is positive with a loving heart. She stays up all night so she can put in a fight. She works her fingers to the bone. She is glad to see her home. With masks and gowns she battles on until the danger is all gone. If I need a pat, she will do just that. She will know what to say, but most of all, when to stay. You are more than a nurse. You are more than my man. You are more than my friend. Give me a biro. You are my superhero. Thank you, everyone working so hard on the front line.
Ah, that's wonderful. Tom, are you still there, Tom? You are?
Yeah.
did you work hard at that? Did it take you a while to put that together? Tell me about it.
2 days.
2 days. Wow, that's excellent. That's really good work. Tom, congratulations and well done. You're going to get a book now with your voucher, are you?
Yeah.
You can put me back to your mammy there for a minute and listen, congratulations. And as you're doing that, I'm going to talk to Celia. Celia, that's just a perfect example of a little boy just using his imagination and combining, I suppose, the little bit of intricacy, a little bit of rhyming couplet, but just the pure emotion in that and the pure loveliness.
It's beautiful. I'll just read out the 2 lines Seamus wrote, in his evaluation of the poem. He said, 20 energetic lines of tribute to a health worker mother fighting the coronavirus. The lines are all strong and full of vitality, and the narrative style is very effective. So isn't that some judgment on a 7-year-old? Amazing, isn't it?
It really is. It's just lovely. It's fabulous. Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous. And before I go back to Eileen, you've got a lot more coming up now during the week. Tell us about what we're going to be playing during the week, some other poems.
Yeah, look, we've 2 poems from each category, from junior infants right up to Leaving Cert, and they're all really excited to get the opportunity to read out their poem on the air, and it's a great tribute to them, to their parents, and also to their schools. I've had teachers emailing me, delighted and excited that their kids have been picked, but also so delighted that all of the poems composed for this competition are up on our website. So even if a child is not a winner, their poem has been published on our website, and they're also excited to look and read their poem online and share it with their families. So I think, we need to pay tribute to every little child who sat down and wrote a poem for us, and of course we will celebrate the winners. But they all have made a great contribution. They have, really. Thanks very much for talking to Celia. Talk to you tomorrow, okay, or in the next few days.
Okay,
Thank
brilliant.
you. Eileen, you're still there. Thank you. Eileen, you're still there.
Yes.
That's a lovely little poem he wrote, isn't it?
Yes, it's great. He started off just looking for a few rhyming words, and I sent him off to his room there to look for rhyming words, and he came back with a few words, and then we helped him to put it all together. I have 3 other children, two older girls and a younger girl in town.
Give them a mention there. What's their names?
So Sarah, Niamh is the eldest girl. She's 10, and she's in, oh my God, I have to think, she's in 4th class in Racormac NS. And Sarah's 9, and she's in 3rd class in Racormac NS. And then Emer is the baby, our princess. She's just gone 5 since March, and she'll be starting in Racormac NS in September with her best friend Fia, who she misses very much from play school.
Well, listen, take care, and thank you so much, Eileen. It's a lovely, lovely thing, and well done. And
Damien, thanks very much for having us on. It's been the highlight now of our week.
No, it's great, and it's tough for you. I know it's tough for the children as well, and trying to keep things going and trying to keep things doing. It must be very tough for you.
It's important, to praise the children. They're doing great,
Yeah, they really are. Well,
we wouldn't be a family usually for staying at home. Would be always
out and about. Yeah.
So it has its challenges, and the kids have been phenomenal. They've never once asked to go anywhere, and they've just embraced the homeschooling, and there's no complaints, so it's really important to praise the children, I think.
It is. Well, I'm going to play a song just at the end here now, Superheroes, for the script, for all those mammies and daddies and children especially, just like you. So listen, well done, Eileen. Thanks so much.
Damien, that's great. Thanks very much. Have a good day.
God bless. Talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. And to all the Hazes there and everybody in Rathgormack, thank you very, very much.